This is the Morobi Cliff. After camping, after hiking for 16 kilometers, actually it's 17 kilometers. So over here, all this is Nandi Hills. I'll put in the description here the depth of this cliff. Shehu Morabi, that is the place we are going today. So I am in a place called Nandi Hills. So yesterday I came to Nandi Hills from all the way from Eldoret. I left Eldoret at yesterday at around 5 p.m. It was very late, and my destination was Morabi, a place called Shehu Morabi. It is found on Nandi Hills. So to go to Shehu Morabi yesterday, I was to camp on the cliff. I was to do wild camping, but unfortunately the heavy rains in Eldoret. Actually, I arrived from Eldoret. I took a matatu from Eldoret town, Eldoret city, to Kapsabet town, and then from Kapsabet town I took another matatu from Kapsabet town to Nandi Hills town. So actually where we are going is up the hill on Nandi Hills. Is a place called Shehu Morabi. So I arrived at Nandi Hills town yesterday night at around 8 p.m. So I wanted to camp on the hill, but at that time, honestly, I couldn't actually find a perfect campsite. I could not reach my destination because from Nandi Hills town to Shehu Morabi is around 16 kilometers, and 16 kilometers is something I can hike very early in the morning, but at 8 p.m. I mean, it's not the best idea to do, especially in an area where you are not familiar with. So that is how we ended up here. We are at a place called Kabikwen. Kabikwen is a small village on your way between Nandi Hills. As you climb the hills from Nandi Hills town, as you climb the hills towards Shehu Morabi, there is a place called Kabikwen. So that is where I managed to arrive. I purposed to hike, and I was hiking in the night, which was not a good idea. But I purposed to reach my destination. Unfortunately, I could not reach there. It was very late. It was 10 p.m. and then it was raining heavily, so I had to find a place to camp. That is how I ended up in Kabikwen primary school. Actually, I camped in a school. If you can see it, it's still dark. That is my tent over there, and this is the place. These are classrooms over there, and then yeah, see, these are classrooms. This is the tent. So I camped here. I just had to talk to the security guy, and he, let me use the place. Around 6:30 now, the sun is rising, so I'm just gonna unpack my tent very quickly and leave. So this is where we are right here. I am at the school where I camped tonight. So I'm just going to follow this map all the way to Morobi Cliff. As you can see here, it's about 3 hours 20 minutes hike, but I'm gonna try and make it in 2 hours. So I'm going to climb the hill via this road, as you can see, and this is where I'm heading to, Morobi over here. So this is my destination. This is where I'm going to be, this Morobe cliffs. Sorry. So we are going to hear beautiful stories of this place. So we are still climbing the hill, and whatever you are seeing there is a beautiful, is what we call a beautiful sunrise. So over there, all this is Nandi Hills, and then we came from, you see where the sun is, so that is where just down there around 4-5 kilometers, that is where Nandi Hills town is. So we are still climbing as we approach Sheikh Morobe. It is just around 5 minutes since I left, and because I keep on stopping while shooting, it's gonna take me a while, but I'm going to hasten my pace as I proceed. For the hikers in the room, what do you think when hiking? Do you use Google Maps? You can leave it in the comment section there. Just tell me, do you trust Google Maps or you just trust locals? Because for me, I use both. Sometimes a local might misguide you because of the names of these places. So when you are doing this adventure, the local can misguide you sometimes, because not that they don't know, they know, but it is just that they know these destinations differently. The locals might know it in a different local name. For you, you know it with the English name that you saw on Google, or you had other content creators saying, but the local doesn't know that English name. He only knows the local name with his mother tongue. So you have to be very careful when you are asking for directions. Ask them, make sure that is the local name, because some of them are always very generous and they don't like to push people away, and for that reason they might misguide you. They'll tell you, oh, do you know a certain place? Yes, I know. They will just show you, go direct, go straight ahead, without knowing exactly where you're asking for. So it is up to you as a nomad or a backpacker or a hiker to know exactly what you are looking for and ask direct questions. Okay? So this place is very beautiful. It's still very early in the morning. I don't know if you can see, but the sun is blinding my camera on the other side. These are cattle dip, and then on the other side these are just tea plantation all the way. So this place is just tea plantations, and as we were saying before I cut you short, when you are asking for directions, there are always two ways of doing it. You see, the name that it is written on Google Maps or Eye of Alanda might not be the name that is used by the locals. So you have to make sure, Kujambo, you have to make sure that the name you are asking for is the same name that the locals are using. So be very vigilant. And again, these maps can lie sometimes. So make sure when you are using maps, you ask. Use your common sense. Just look at the roads. If it's heading to someone's homestead, you just ask. There is no problem to doing so. For instance, let me just ask here, because I should be turning right. Hujambo, hii barabara inaenda straight, kuna junction hapo mbele, naenda mpaka Sheikh Morobe huko. Naenda hivi alafu aya, asante, shukran. So sometimes it can be right, or it can really misguide you. So you be very vigilant. I don't know if I'm the only one afraid of tea plantations, because I always think that these tea plantations might have, you know, serpents in them. See how they are packed together. But that is the norm, because this is Nandi. And where are we? We are on the Nandi Hills. I'll just share the altitude of where we are at the moment. So I'll just post this video here, and then we connect after maybe 30 minutes or an hour. Or if I see anything fascinating along the way, then I'll let you know as we proceed with the tour. Okay? So here we are in Kapsimotwa. So that hill over there, that hill on the other side, that is Morobi, is about 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers roughly, but Google Map is telling me to go all the way around and turn again, which is 6 kilometers. So I'm not going around. I want to look for directions on how I can move this way, you know, just look for a shortcut, the 3 kilometers, because I'm hiking. I don't have to follow the road all the way to cover 6 kilometers, because my devices are shutting down and I'm using solar, so I need to sit down somewhere and recharge my devices. So let me show you when I reach Morobi Cliffs. This is the Morobi Cliff. After camping at the school where we talked about when you saw and after hiking for 16 kilometers, actually it's 17 kilometers. I thought I'll hike it for 3 hours, but I went 4+ hours because of stopovers and photography and video shooting and all that, and I'm alone. So doing my own videographing and hiking for 16 kilometers, 17 plus, this is where I've reached. So this is Morobe Cliffs, and it has got historical narratives that are being said about it that I will highlight in this video. So as you continue to watch this video, as we end up our episode again, make sure you watch it to the end, because this is where it goes all the way from this side to the other side. So we finally made it to Morobe Cliffs. I will show you a bigger scan of what it looks like from the other side to the other side. So we want our channel to grow. Please subscribe. Don't just watch our videos, watch, subscribe, share and like the videos so that I can keep on giving you more videos of the same. I hope. Sheu Morobe. This is the mass self-killing of the elderly. Now, back in history, if one was old enough that his own age set was being initiated again while they were still alive, they would go for the Sheu. If a Chemakitat was also about to be born, Sheu would be the alternative for the two generations not to meet. It means this group of persons who are more than 120 years old. A child born during Sheu will get the same chelasho. Older age sets would, before taking the plunge, hold special prayers on an open field on top of the cliffs, where the rituals mimicking a real burial will be held. This is where those with deads will declare them and bid farewell to the younger generation before going to the other world. Kakibe achek Sheu, kaimutek cheptailels kipsangwet. We are going to heaven. God is taking us to the heavens, they will say. Holding hands as they sang, standing close to the edges of the cliffs, they will swing together in unison and suddenly jump off the cliff backwards. Now, the ritual was elaborate and was performed at the open field between the months of October and March during the dry season. It is said to have lasted more than 36 hours. It is also here that the departing elders will bless the younger generations as they prepare for the journey to meet Assis, their god. They will hold hands to ensure that this also discouraged cowards from changing their minds at the last minute. Regarded as an honorable act among the Kalenjin, the community explained that taking one's own life by the elders who had reached an advanced old age would relieve the relatives of the burden of taking care of them while they are so elderly. Their collective leap symbolized a spiritual journey beyond this world. Sheu Morobe stands as a testament for the Kalenjin community's unique approach to aging, mortality, and caring for the elderly members. The cliffs, once associated with death, now echo a rich cultural history that continues to intrigue and provoke reflection. Sheu Morobe.